All right, everybody. Today we're going to be doing this is an animation tutorial in Moho Pro, Moho 12. This is for designing for character design, but in more unique styles. And in this case, I'm going to be doing the style of Total Drama, which is one of my favorite cartoons. Um, and so there are a number of different uniquely designed characters and stuff, but they generally follow a similar pattern in the art style. So you can apply this to basically any of the characters, or if you have your own characters. In this case, I'm going to be recreating Cody because I like the character design and we share a name. Uh, so this is largely going to be, I'm not going to necessarily be freehanding him, but I am going to be animating him, uniquely. But so we're just going to, like, it won't be a perfect replica, but we're just going to get into it and see where it goes. So first what I'm going to do is, uh, pardon me, go to create a new vector, and I'm going to name this head, and I'm also going to put it in a group, and I'll name that head as well. So I'm going to first start by turning off autofill and auto stroke, and just going to draw a shape, and then just edit to the shape of his head. So let's just curve that out. So that's looking good, and then that I will say bring that along here, and bring that here. Um, So the shape is not necessarily optimal. Okay, you know what? You know what I'll do? I will do this. I will um, set. So first reset the curve, and then put the curve down here, and then curve it out. So yeah, that looks much better. Um, Obviously maybe adjust it a little bit. That's the thing with Moho. There is so much adjustment. Yeah, it's very, very, very trial and error. So what I'm going to do is just going to bring this out. Oh, oops! Didn't mean to select the whole thing. Bring that out there. And then, because most of his head is covered by his hair, or well, not most of his head, but some of it. Okay, so that's the face shape we've got more or less. Just adjust that a little bit more. Um, and then what I'm going to do is now go to the Create Shape tool, click on that. I'm going to use the color picker to pick a skin color, and then I'm going to hit Create Shape with both selected. And so now we have roughly the shape of his head. There's a little bit of an overlap there, but we have the shape of his head, and it's filled in. But what I'm going to do now is hit, hit Q to select it, and then I'm going to just disable the fill. I'm going to now make a new layer for his hair, and it's basically same process. So these settings are not active. I'm going to draw a square first. Add this. I'm going to also hide the lines of the head, um, and do that. Do that, and then I'm going to fill in like the curves of that in a sec, but I'm just getting the basic points drawn. So there's that, and there's that. Hold on, now I'm going to bring that one in just so it's not confusing me. Okay, there's that. Drag that one there. I'm just doing some of these in advance. Then that. So now I'm going to bring this down, uh, bring this down, just this a little bit, bring this, and okay, so I think that's pretty straight, so I'll just leave that as is. And then you just, curve these out. And I'm using a lot of hotkeys here, but you can always manually, like for the curvature tool, the curvature hotkey is C, but you can obviously go to these different tools and just use them. It's just I've used this enough to where I pretty much know all the, or most of the hotkeys by heart. So that speeds things up a little bit. So let's see, do this. Okay, and then also the um, the sort of indent in his hair. That, and there's that. And just going to bring that a little bit. So there's his very interesting hairstyle, and then I'm going to do the other, like the side side of his hair. So same basic order of business. This is going to be a little easier because it's not as many like spikes. Um, so just move that in there and move that there, and so his hair, and then order is very important here. Like when you create a new shape, it's going to be above the other one. So first, what we're going to do is make this shape, and then select this one and make this shape, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hide that for a sec and see what it looks like if I narrow down the points. I'm going to make that 34. Just for the sake of uniformity, I'm going to make all these 34. So select this, these two, and then I'm going to set that to 34 because that's what we have the other ones on. So, oh yeah, and I also got to do it up to these ones. So let's see, 34. Um, Cody's hair is done, and then for the ear, uh, what I'm going to do is just draw the hair layer is above the head, so we got to go back down to the head layer and then draw another shape. And what I'm going to do is move that about there, then move this one here, just the points and the curve, and make sure that's that. Hide this line, and then move this point. If, I don't know, what I can do is sort of shrink that a little bit. This is what I'm saying. It's not necessarily going to look exactly like, because if you look at his ear, it obviously gets kind of the line gets a little fatter when the ear, but this is the best that we can do right now. So I'm going to hide that so I can see it, and then for the the actual line of his ears, that's pretty it's pretty easy. I'm just going to okay, um, draw individual points. Do that, and then do that. And then I'm just going to create shape. You can create shape on these lines that we make. So then I'm going to just do fill stroke, and then so now when we look, there's a stroke right here. But I just want to make sure, yeah, the lines get a little like progressively thinner the further towards his head we go. Okay, so that is the I'll show this shape again just as a little status update kind of thing. Okay, so we've already got the shape of his head and the exact coloration. Uh, so now we're going to focus on the eyes. So the eyes is going to be another folder because we're going to make it to where the eyes can, the pupils can move around, which you might have seen in some other videos. But so what I'm going to do for that is make a group, and I'm going to call it eyes, and then let's see. All right. New vector layer, drag that in there, eyes, okay, and then now I'm going to select, because these are basically, just select that, and then draw an oval, and let's see if I can kind of scale that down a little bit. Okay, so that looks better. And then now, or no, it should be a little smaller because the outline's going to be there. So there's that, and then I'm going to draw the pupil. So let's do that. So draw the pupil there. Oops, maybe flatten that down a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this will have an outline. So it's going to be fill and stroke. But this one is going to be, when I create the shape, it's just going to be fill because the pupil has no outline. So I'm going to just select the, the teal color of his eye, and then there we go. We've got his eye. The lines of his, around his, like the outlines of his eyes are kind of smaller, so I'm going to shrink that down to about 6. And then if we compare that and we look, that looks pretty good. Um, so let's see, disable the head so I can still see it. And then for the eyes, because they're an exact copy, you can highlight, Control C, Control V, and move that, move that there. What I'm curious about is why one eye is bigger than the other in terms of this character design. I did not notice that, so we'll just do that. Just make this eye a little, or no, wait, um, make it a little wider. So, so there's that, and then I did notice that I just selected this shape when I did that. I selected this point and this point. I did not select the pupil because the pupils stay the same apparently. Um, so that is looking pretty good. They're still on the same sort of vertical plane. Um, so next let's see, so disable the head again. His eyebrows are going to be pretty straightforward. Just going to do another vector layer, eyebrows, and let's see, and then because it's basically just a straight line. So what we're going to do is what we did before, just draw a line, and then select that, and then go to stroke, and create shape, and what do you know, we have an eyebrow, but well, what's the size? Okay, that needs to be a little bigger. Um, there we go. And then the eyebrow, like before, can be copied, and then there's the option to flip horizontally, which in retrospect may or may not be an actual feature or might be from a plugin I have, I don't know. So apologies if you don't have this feature. Um, I mean, yeah. You can always, I mean, one option is to always like invert it, or you can just draw another line, you know, because it's just a straight line. So there are his eyebrows. To make them movable, what we do is, so we're going to convert this to a bone layer, and I'm going to set the layer origin. This is another plugin. You can always like click manually, but I have a plugin available that you can select different positions for it. So I'm just going to use that. Um, and so this is centered on his eyes, and that's just in case I need to move the layer, because if I didn't, then the layer would be displaced. But now I can just move it as I need it. What I'm going to do for this is I'm going to have his eyes. I know his eyes in the picture are at sort of a neutral position. I want to see what they would look like if they were up here. So they're more they're centered more. And so now that they are centered, we're going to draw some bones. So the first one, and this is a technique from Poptugi and potentially some other people. I don't necessarily know who coined it first, but I'll just give credit where it's due as best I can. So first, to make, you would, in this case, Cody, you know, and other characters have eyelids, but or you know, for like half-lidded expressions and so on. But in this case, just for simplicity, we're just going to focus on how to move the eyes. So what I'm going to do for the eyes is I'm going to draw a bone here, then draw another bone here, hit B, click, hit B, or hit the you know, the add a bone. In this case was A, my bad, and then just draw another one. And then for this one, hit P and click on this. So these bones, as you can see, they're based on this one. So if I move, oh, and also turn down the bone strength. Um, but if I move this bone, these other ones are going to move with it. But if I move this one individually, well, I can't do that in like at frame 0. Um, so what I can do is then go to back to the eyes layer. If I hit B to select a bone, and then while it's selected, hit G and click on the pupil, hit I, and then bind points, and then do that for this one, then now the eyes can be moved around by clicking on this bone. Or you can, or I'll show you in this frame, you can, what? Wait, hold on, what? Oh, uh, you can use the transform bone tool, and like if you needed to move this one around for whatever reason, you could do that. For the eyebrows, it's basically the same thing. We're going to go back to the bone layer, hit B, so make sure none of these bones are selected. Draw another bone, draw one here, or actually, no, we don't have a center point. So in this case, I'll just um, show how to, or no, you know what I'll do? Oh, hold on a sec. I'm going to add a point here, or add a point here, and add a point here, and you'll see why in a second. Go back to this, going to draw a bone here, and then while this is selected, I'm going to draw another one here, and then select this one again, and then draw another bone here, and then repeat the process on the other side. So draw this one here, draw this one here, and then select this, draw this one here, and then also remember to turn down the bone strength all the way. And then now we can go back to the eyebrows layer. While this bone is selected, select just this point, hit I, bind points, and then just do that for each of these. Um, then yeah, it's pretty much just rinse and repeat. So I'm just going to select all these, bind this point, hit B, bind this point. And then now what you'll see is when we go to the bone, the eyebrow can bend up and bend down, though I would need to put some curvature in because it's basically a straight thing. So to do that, all you need to do is just go to the eyebrows, select these center points, curvature, and then you can just hit smooth. And so basically when you bend that, now it's going to, well, it's easier to see on this one. You can see that it kind of curves, like rather than just bending in a straight line, it curves. Um, so there's that. So now I would say the eyes are done. Um, and as for the rest of the facial features, so I'm going to hide the head again. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to draw basic line shapes. So I'm going to just name this. No, sometimes when I design characters on my own, I will just have it on the head layer if it's something very simple. Obviously, for mouths, there are more advanced methods. Like you can have a switch layer folder with different mouth shapes, which would probably be easiest because that's what Total Drama does. But let's see. So I'm going to name that nose, and then I'm going to first create the nose, create shape, stroke, and then go down here and then make the mouth. Curve that, and then I notice that sometimes this bends up, so all you have to do is just click it and then just move the mouse to the side, and that will fix it. Um, and I mean, I don't know if anybody else has that problem or if I'm just unlucky, but that's how it seems to be. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to create shape, and then because the mouth narrows, I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to shrink the center a bit. And then also for the nose, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to select these points. I'm going to, well, not that much, but narrow it down a little bit. Let me just select that. And yeah, Cody's head is done. Uh, so it's, it isn't necessarily like a one for one replica, but that's basically as good as it's going to get. So now now that the head is done, we're going to check make the body. So let me just think about the best way to go about this, because Cody, in terms of his design, is somewhat complex, but is doable. So what I'm going to do first is design, like, I'm blanking on the word for what this would be on his shirt, but we're gonna just draw that. So this actually would honestly be all one thing, to be truthful. So I'm going to draw a rectangle here, then draw this curve here, and draw this here. This would presumably be about where it stops. This there, this there, this there, and it seems to be, unlike his hair, it doesn't really seem to curve that much. I'm going to move this a little bit. So his shirt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to name this so shirt. I'm going to group and name that shirt as well. Now what I'm going to do for these details like the lines on his shirt and the uh, and this and everything else, I'm going to make it I'm going to add masking to the group. So this is going to be, and this is another feature that I don't necessarily know if Moho Debut has. I don't know if this is a Pro feature or not because I've only used Pro. Hide all is going to be the masking. So basically, by default, what this means is that there technically wouldn't be anything shown because I haven't actually made this a shape yet. But I'll just adjust that. But basically, once I draw something, like once I fill in the shirt, nothing else is going to show. Like if I drew like a straight line, only the stuff within the line will show, if that makes sense. So to prove that, I'm going to first select the color of the shirt and then select the shape, and then I'm going to make it create shape both. So now I'm going to hide that just so I can see it. Then I'm going to draw another shape up in the second layer and make it here. I'm going to just kind of fill it in, not exactly as the basic shape, but just kind of in range of it, if you will. So just going to make it like that. I'm going to add another shape here, and then I'm going to make this right about there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this color and then create this as a shape. And then now when you see the shirt, all this other stuff is excluded from it. However, what I can do, you'll notice that there isn't an outline, it's especially noticeable if, I disable this. Hold on, oh, okay, there's that. So I'm gonna move that out just a little bit to prevent confusion, mainly for myself. Move that out. But what I can do now is if I go to the shirt and if I hit exclude strokes, then the strokes from this shirt layer will cover, this flat, and I keep getting stupid notifications. Um, so add to mask, so that's good. So everything's all good. So now the process pretty much repeats with these lines on Cody's shirt. So I'm going to go back up here and you can do it and you can do all the shirt details. That's what I'll name it. Shirt details up here. And I'm going to let's see, make the stripes. So this will be this stripe, and I will just fill that in. And then this other stripe, we'll select the color first. Here, there, and then there. And select that and create that shape. And then now when we look at the shirt, you'll notice that it's not necessarily completely covered because of the way the shirt is designed or the character's designed. We haven't made the arm yet, so that's why that's a thing. So now I'm gonna oops. So the shirt is done, minus of course the collar. Now what we're gonna do, I'm also gonna group group and select. So this will be just Cody, like the actual character. I'm going to now design his arm, or his right arm, but it's basically going to be mirrored for the left arm, or excuse me, this is left arm, right arm. Of course, I'm just looking at this is the right. So for the arm, remembering where that line is, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double click on shirt, or no, not double click on shirt, right click on shirt, and go to quick settings and show paths. So basically what that means is when I deselect this layer, I can still see where that line is. Um, and I'm going to hide the shirt so I can actually see where I'm drawing. Or no, I need a No, okay, that's not working. So what do I need to do? I'll just disable the fill and stroke, and then I'll just go fill those back in later. So now, and I'm also going to copy the position, like the y coordinate of how high up it is, so there's a perfect line. So now for the arm, going to select and drag. His arm would go like, say the elbow is like right about here-ish. And drag, oops, drag this here. Because I have that coordinates copied, I mean it's basically on the dot, but I just prefer to have that there. So okay, just draw this, and then there's that. And what I'm also going to do is add a point here because I'm going to hide this line. Like there will be a line here when I create the shape, but when you'll see what I mean in a minute. But I also need to draw this. Like this is where the joint is going to rotate. So let's see. So when I do this, this is also going to be a another masked layer. So I'm going to name this arm left, or rather upper arm left. Sometimes I write left upper arm or upper arm left. I'm very inconsistent. Arm. So that's left arm. And then before anything else, I'm going to write, or I'm going to add the lower arm and the forearm. So I'm going to line these points up pretty much as they are. Add that. And I'll do the hand design, add the hand in a second, but I just want to make sure. And also this, the like the cuff of his shirt is going to be added momentarily. What I'll do, actually, just to give the cuff a little more room, I'm going to move this up, and then I'm also going to widen it a little bit. So now what we're going to do for this upper arm first, and actually what I need to do is I need to select this, Control X, make a new vector layer, and then lower or lower arm left, and then paste. And then that'll be in the exact same spot that we had it in. So now basically this layer is the upper arm, this layer is the lower arm, so I'll move the upper arm up. Now what I'm going to do for the upper arm is I'm actually going to make the the color is going to be this like uh, gray color. So to do that, I'm going to first select the color, of course, and then create shape. So now we have this arm. Hit H to hide this edge. So this is complete. This line is completely invisible, or this segment of the line. And then I'm going to hide it for a sec just so I can see what I'm doing. And then add a mask up here. I'm going to draw another line. And what will also be easier is I'll actually, when I go to create this shape, I'm going to just create it as fill rather than stroke. So fill this, select this, then add a vector layer. Um, Sleeve left, I guess. And then there's name this. Just in case moving this position around. Move that there, move that there. So this should be pretty good. I'm going to create fill, and then now we're going to show this. So this is still showing. I'm going to move this just a wee bit more. And now I'm going to do masking, hide all, and then make it to where the upper arm adds to mask, and you can right click to do that, and then the lower arm also adds to mask, but this sleeve is masked. So same order of business like with the head, going to select, double click on the upper arm, masking, exclude strokes. So now this is perfectly blended, but I will say that it is missing a stroke. So what I'll do actually is enable the stroke, and there we go. Now we have the stroke. So the sleeve, and it's a perfect shape too. It's all one curve. That's exactly what we want. Next, for the lower arm, basically the same order of business, except uh, he has obviously the skin after the forearm. Like once we get past the cuff, there's his arm. To do that, what we're going to do is I'm trying to think about the best way to do that. I would say probably to make, because the majority of the arm is exposed skin, or the forearm is exposed skin, I'm going to make that skin as well. Or actually, no, I'm going to make it all same as before, but then, yeah, words fail me. So, I'm going to select this, select that same color from before, create shape. Oh wait, I forgot to create shape as both. Create shape as both. And actually, I uh, miscalculated. The lower arm, I think, should be up here. But I am going to hide the lower arm because I need to figure out where the um, this forearm, like the skin, is. So select the skin color again. Go here and just move these points around so it's not like necessarily touching it, but it isn't like a mile away. Put that there, and then make that just fill. So forearm skin, I guess. And then going back here, we're going to, as before, masking, exclude strokes. So now the stroke consumes the arm, but I am going to also go to this forearm and then add a stroke, so it adds that line. Though then again, the yeah, cuff will cover it, so it's really personal preference if you want to actually do that or not. Now, you'll notice that this is covered. This is like the only feature that I know that is definitely a pro feature for Moho. But what you can do, so this arm, when it would bend, would be, there would be this obvious join. Now, so one thing you can do is you can hide it, but if you hide it there and you bend the arm enough, you will see, like it's not good. But what I'll do now is I'm going to show a patch. So I'm going to put a patch, and the target, you can change the target. But the way a patch works is it creates this invisible shape, and then you can, let's see, which patch does it need to be? I always get kind of confused. So patch, I think forearm, or no, not forearm, skin, lower arm left. And then when you hit apply, and then put it above, hold on, what am I doing here? Nope. Yeah, so it's just sort of a reorganizing nightmare. So, I think this patch would be upper arm left. And then put it above. No, why is it not doing that? That's peculiar. Hold on. Is it doing it and rendering but not in this? Yep, it's just like a little Moho error. Because now you can see when we render this, um, like in this, it's not showing properly, which it's kind of a glitch. It does that sometimes. But in here, and it's especially noticeable, we'll disable the background image. The arm has no visible thing, which is good. That's what we want. So basically, the way I have this ordered is the upper arm is at the bottom, the forearm is above that, but the patch is above that. So that's how that's going to work. For the cuff of the forearm, so I'm going to hide that. I'm going to hide the lower arm. The that is going to just be a, let's see. So there's that, and then I'm going to add this. Oops, I'm going to add this point here, drag it, hit enter to connect. If that worked. I didn't hear it. Okay, no, it did work. Just click that. 'Cause the problem is if you click and drag, it'll pull it. So you just have to click and then click and hold on it, and then just drag it and then hit enter, and then it'll snap it on. So we've got that. Um, and then next, and also actually no, hold on. What I'll do is instead, so we can get that narrow point, I'm going to do it from here. Click it and then drag it here, but not touching, because the outline will mask it for us. So I'm going to drag that there. Then going to select this, and then also hold shift and select these lines. And then fill and stroke both. I need to select the color before I do anything. So select the color, create shape. And then now, oh right, because it's masked. So don't mask this layer. And then because these aren't touching, what we can do is just hit W and then just shrink it down. So now that looks a little closer to, how that looks. Not perfectly, mind you, but um, it's about as good as we're going to get. So, oops, maybe narrow that a little bit. So there's that. Okay, I'm going to re-enable the forearm and then just double checking that the patch is still working just fine. So let's see. So, hold on, wait, why is the shirt not showing up? That's peculiar. Oh, right, because I disabled the shirt color. User error on my part. So let's just enable that real quick now that we can see the arm. So create shape. Now the details are showing up again, so that's good. And then now that we look at this uh, in render view, so he's coming along pretty well. So now for the hand, I want to hide the shirt just so I can see him a little more clearly. For the hand, you can, like, as I mentioned before, kind of like with the mouths, you can actually do like various hand poses. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to get into that, but if you look at like rotation sheets and screenshots and stuff like that, if you wanted to do like a hand rig, you can absolutely do that. If you want to know how to do a hand, like switch layer hand rig, you can find plenty of tutorials of that on YouTube. But so for now, we're not really going to bother with that. What we're going to do is we're going to go here and make a hand layer. Skin is still selected, skin color is still selected. I'm going to draw a shape here, and then from there, just basically fill it out as per normal. So do that, 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 and then that's going to be curved. It's going to be curved as well. We're going to move that down a little bit. All right. Then just do that. Okay, so um, that should be pretty good. And then basically same order of business as before. Select all these, and I'm holding Shift to click to add additional stuff. Create shape, and then this is still masked by default, so I just have to add to mask. Or no, wait. What I need to do is don't mask this layer. Then for the fingers, just sort of narrow that down a little bit. I'm going to narrow these down as well. And then just like before, we're going to put a patch to cover this line. So in order to do that, I'm going to hit patch, and then target is the hand. Patch by default spawns in the, well, spawn using a game term, but appears in the middle of the project like window. So let's see. That's interesting. Why is it not? Uh, right, I forgot about the rendering thing. Okay, so hold on. Forearm skin. Is the patch working now? No, it is not. I need to figure out why. So maybe it's because of the order I had it in. No, that couldn't be it. So well, I guess one way to do it, quite honestly, is to just select the layer. You can Alt right click to select a layer. Um, and then let's see, forearm skin, or no, wait, oh right, lower arm. Hit H to hide that, and then, but there's still that gap, so I'm gonna undo that. I'm just trying to troubleshoot here. Figure out why this patch is not working properly. Forearm skin. Okay, let's see. Will that work? No, it will not. So the question begs why. Hmm. Let's see. Also, while I have this selected, I'll just move that. All right. So hand. So hold on, that's how that's layered. So I think the hand would be above the forearm skin, and then the forearm skin. Maybe hold on. Patch. Well, I guess we'll tackle that later. I don't want to get too bogged down with that. Um, but I suppose if you follow a similar procedure to this, yeah, you just tinker around with it, and you'll probably have better results. And you can also, while I'm thinking about it, shrink the patch a little bit. So let's see. Wonder if I'm gonna create another patch. I'm just because it's kind of bothering me. Patch and patch, and then nope, that didn't fix it. Oh well. So the left arm is done-ish, and then I'm going to just, because the arms are more or less the same, I'm going to duplicate that right arm. Oops, no, not right, right arm. And then move that layer, and I got to recenter the thing, so center. Slide that over this way. And then now what I'm going to do is rotate it a little bit because it's not necessarily exactly on the thing. It's not necessarily a perfect copy. Select here, and then, well, hold on. What were the coordinates of this? So this was 1409. Oh wait, it's because they're rotated. That's why. Duh. I'm gonna use another plugin. I mean, you can obviously do this manually, but I'm gonna, or no, I'm not gonna bother with the plugin this time. All right, there we go. So I'm gonna, because this arm is out here, I'm gonna hide this, and then for the for this, I'm going to flip it, and then rotate it a little bit. Also, keep in mind that the right arm is behind the body. Like you don't see all this, so you have to just drag this down. It's going to be beneath the shirt. So if we enable the shirt, you can see that it's still like this, and then also the hand would need to be flipped, which again is easy enough. You just oops, flip that. I'm going to slide it over. And keep in mind, it's still showing because we haven't put the legs in yet. But now, if we look at Cody now, he's turning out pretty well. I will say that there is, well, let me just double check the reference image, just so I have a side-by-side comparison. I'm going to duplicate this layer and I'm going to move him over here. Okay, so you can see that, I mean, we still need to do the collar, but there's this area open up here, so that needs to be altered. So right about here, and then we're just going to hide this line. Okay, so we have it's pretty well established now. So I'm gonna hide that. So that's looking pretty well. Now we're going to finish the top. We're going to do design his neck and the collar of his shirt. So for the sake of you being able to see what I'm doing, I'm going to hide. Whoops, right layer is not actually in the group layer. Hide the right arm, the shirt, and the left arm, and then I'm going to create a new layer, a vector layer, and I'm going to name this one neck. And so neck is selected, then I'm going to just trace it pretty much as we've been doing. Trace that. Oops. That. Do that. Do that. And do that. All right. And then that's going to be this whole thing is going to have to be masked. Or this little area. So let's see. Group selection. Neck. Oop, neck. And first, I'm going to actually fill it in with color. So let's see. Fill in stroke. Hide that. So you can still see the lines, but you just can't see all the colors. Make this group masking, hide all, do that, and then I'm going to just basically draw like a box of color pretty much. And that should be about there. Okay. And then this is just going to be fill. So create that. And then now when you look, of course, there's this issue from before, which is as simple as just going to the neck and doing exclude strokes. So now it's completely covered up. Although we do need a stroke for this, I forgot. So add a stroke for that. For this and this, it's going to be pretty straightforward. It's just going to be single layers. So I'm going to do this left for this side. I'm going to select this color. Select that. Move that out just a little bit. Fill. Oh, oops. Fill and stroke, of course. Fill and stroke. Then that's to the left of the neck. So that should actually be above the neck because we want to be able to see that. For the other one, that's going to be behind the neck, so you could either create it above here or you could just drag it down. But I'm going to just do that and do this and bring that up here and fill in stroke. And so now the neck's re-enabled. You cannot see behind that, but I am also with the neck going to narrow this a little bit. So that would be the collar and the neck. I also need to move the head above the neck, of course, because otherwise there's that line. So head is above the neck. And now if we re-enable the shirt and the left arm. So basically, in terms of designing Cody, he's basically already almost done, aside from, his legs and his feet. But then we're going to need, and also one thing for, oh, I just realized there's this. So I need to move this left above this, so this will cover it. So now if we look, it should be rendered properly. Yep, it's good. But as I was saying, one sort of limitation, or at least that I haven't been able to get past, is that you'll see here that his neck and his head mesh perfectly. It's all like kind of one shape, but there is a visible line here. You might be able to fix it with patching, but uh, I'm not sure. For now, that's just going to be kind of a limitation of what I'm able to show you. But now let's do the legs. So re-enable the reference of Cody, and what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to be basically copying this and pasting it here, I'm going to just draw this leg. So I'm going to go down to the right arm, just so I don't have to drag it all the way. Drag it down there. And then I'm going to name this leg, because I'm going to start with the upper leg. Upper leg left. Oh, left. I'm going to group that left leg. And apparently it was not inside the character layer, which would have been bad. So let's see, draw the legs. So first I'm going to just select the color. Alright, so, excuse me there, just kind of congested. So now what I forgot to do is, I was trying to draw the whole thing. What we need to do is, because this is going to bend, uh, reset the, reset the curvature on this to be a straight line. Nope, nope, there we go. This is also going to be a straight line. So, yeah, Cody, like his pocket here might be a little bit of an issue. I didn't really factor that in, but as I said earlier, this is not necessarily a perfect representation of how to draw total drama characters. Other characters might be a little easier to do, but just bear in mind that some things might be either a limitation, or in my case of me, or it might be a limitation of the program. So you just play around with it. You might be able to figure it out probably better than I did. So there's that. And so that's the upper leg. I'll move that up a little bit more actually to give the knee a little more room. So there's that. Now for the lower leg, I start out by drawing on this upper leg layer and then moving it. So draw that, draw that, draw that, then draw this, and then this, move that. Okay, and so that is basically and I'll have to obviously select that, Control X, and then lower leg left. So now that we have the uh, I mean, well, this I'm going to have to figure out some sort of solution for. I guess, well, for now, I think I will skip this just because I'm trying to demonstrate a basic overview of how to design these characters. Other more experienced animators might be able to figure out solutions, but for now, we'll just stick with this as a leg. So, now what we're going to do is fill them in. So first I'm going to, oops, no, I didn't mean to select that. I meant to select this. Select that, and select that. And then now double checking our reference. So like with the arm, so the upper part is going to be at the bottom. The lower part is going to be on the top, and then the patch for the bottom layer is going to be above that. So basically what we're going to do now is the upper leg is at the bottom, and then I'm going to create oh, oops, no, I created a vector layer. I need to create a patch. A patch for the upper leg, and going to move it here. And as you can see now, for some reason, it's decided to cooperate. If we just look at the left leg, there's no line at all, which is another reason why this wouldn't be doable, because it would probably like cut it out. So there's that. I'm going to hide these parts, and then make the shoe. Shoe's going to be a little tricky due to the shape of it. It is doable. So I'm going to start out by drawing, a rectangle here, and then just design the general shape of the shoe. So there's that. So there's that. And then before I fill it in, actually, what I'm going to do, what might be easier is honestly to select this. Then I'm going to make a layer of shoe. Shoe. Group with selection. Shoe. Draw that there. So that's going to be kind of like the base of it. And for the color, I'm going to make it this like army green. So for the color, going to select that. And for the shape, create the shape. Add a little more curve here. So we have the shoe shape, like the base shoe. Now we just need to fill in all this other stuff. So select that, and then I'm going to make this uh, bottom, or no, sole. I guess that would probably be the better term. Sole, we got to make sure that masking is in effect, so all this other stuff will be there. I'm going to preemptively exclude strokes. And now we're going to just fill in this other stuff. So first, do that. What the? Nope. Then what I'll do is just to get these coordinates. So get that. Nope, I didn't mean to do that. Do that and that. And move that. And because the shoe is all like one entity, it doesn't really matter if you're like out this far. So like it's all self-contained. So basically like if he moves in front of this, as long as the whatever's in front of him is not in this layer, in this group, it's not going to cause any problems. So don't worry about that. So create the shape. And then now you can see there's that. I'm going to narrow these points because as you see here, they sort of sharpen. So sharpen that. Okay. Now hide that shoe again. And then I'm going to make another layer. Then just do these finer details. So curve that out. Bring that up here. Curve that out here. And then let's see, move that. I'm going to create another. Actually, I'll just branch off here. Oh, I didn't mean to snap to that one. Oh, well, it serves its purpose. So now I'm going to first select this. Oh no, wait, hold on. So if I select this, oh, sometimes this happens. I'm gonna select this color, go to here. Yeah, fill and stroke, that's what we want. So there's that. Now this is kind of a thick line, so what I'm going to do for that is select these points, and then create a shape, but the line width will be 6 instead. I mean, it can be any number you want though. So make that. So now that looks much better. Now for this line, um, so let me. I'm gonna first create this shape as well, then create this shape, and then for this line, create shape. So now if we look at this properly, yep, there we go. We got the details of most of the shoe. Let me just hide the shoe because we still have this stuff down here. I'm going to make that a separate layer. Make that a separate layer down here, and down here. And then I will, oops, nope, copy that, and then paste it, just so I don't have to draw and pose the same rectangle again. All right, so shoe is done. I don't think the heel is done though. Let me just double check that. Uh, no, still need to do the, like what I'm assuming is the sock. So let me just, yeah, so I need to do that down there. So what I'm going to do, well, actually, kind of again for both sake of time and for the sake of just a demo, I'm not going to bother with that. If you wanted to do this, like for sock, you could obviously copy the techniques up here and elsewhere. But in this case, I'm just going to, uh, forsake that for the time being. And then for the other leg, it's basically as basic as copying the left leg, duplicating the left leg. I'm going to rename that to right leg. Move that behind the left leg because the left leg is in front. Shift that up here a little bit. And then now, if we look, oh, no, the hand is here because we need to move the right arm behind the right leg. So now it's behind the right leg, and we basically have a perfect, a near perfect replica of Cody. So next time, because I guess I'm going to be making this a two-parter, next time we're going to be actually animating Cody. We're going to be adding bones to him to where, kind of like with the eyes, where, his head can move, like nod, and arms can bend, and, feet can bend, and all that other stuff. So that's for next time. So catch you later, guys.